My name is Tim, and I haven't been hoping for a brighter future for humanity for 2 months now. But let's start from the beginning. Like most of you, I study sustainable development. And like most of you, the first thing I do in the morning is to grab my laptop and check up the news. So let's do it. Let's get ourselves a quick overview of the state of the world in 2030. Fertilizer plant exploded in Texas, killing 15 people and injuring more than 200. WWF reports 27% of Earth biodiversity disappeared since 1970. Switch up building in Bangladesh, causing death of 300 people and injuring more than 2,000 people. Every minute, 100 acres of rainforest is being destroyed. Science magazine claims that 39% of Earth's surface will be made inhabitable for humans by 2100. The UN estimates that 70,000 people died in the Syrian civil war. Marine scientists estimated that in the last 50 years, 90% of large ocean predators were exterminated by industrial fishing. Massive floods in Pakistan caused the death of 400 people and displaced 5 million others. Almost 1 out of 7 people on Earth is still hungry. And of course, North Korea is threatening again to start a world nuclear war. How am I supposed to feel after this? Hopeless, powerless, futureless. So I came here tonight to tell you about something I ended up naming the Sustainable Development Syndrome. The Sustainable Development Syndrome, or SDS, is something I'm sure most of you are familiar with. So I tried to come up with a definition. SDS is a personality disorder affecting people studying sustainable development. The primary features of SDS include lack of faith in the survival of humanity, extreme feeling of powerlessness, compulsive obsessive cynicism, and deep feeling of despair. People with SDS are at risk for serious complications, such as severe inability to connect with other humans not already affected by SDS. This is serious. This is not a joke. At first you think it's a joke. Next thing, you're verbally aggressing your 8-year-old brother each time you run the tap for more than 10 seconds. Come on, inconscient, don't you think about the future of humanity? He's 8, I think it doesn't. But my point is anyway, that studying sustainable development, sustainability issue, is changing the way we perceive the world. When I started to study economics, the world was like a bike with a flat tire, ready for a fix. And learning economics was supposed to give me the skill to fix this tire. Now, each time I'm thinking about the world, I see this. Thank you, system thinking. And I mean, they call economics the dismal science. What's sustainable development then? I mean, sometimes I feel that sustainable development is the ultimate discipline of hopelessness. I mean, you spend half of your time learning about problems, right? And you spend the other half learning about the fact that you personally cannot do anything about it. Great. But you know what? I'm getting better. How? Well, no miracles. I take medication. And this is happening. This is what you find on Google first 20 pages when you type in philosophy of hope. Which I think is pretty terrifying. What will happen in, let's say, 1,000 years, when future generation will look down on their ancestors and find this? They will definitely think we're some kind of tribal lunatics applying moisturizer to cope with the catastrophes of our time. But the thing is, will they be wrong? Is that not what we tend to do today? I love this picture because it presents hope as something we consume. And I used to consume a lot of hope myself. A few weeks ago, I'm playing chess with a friend, enjoying a cup of coffee. And I'm looking down at this Lipton tea box. And I can read in big bold letters, just next to a full-face smiling African kid, this small cup of coffee can make a big difference. And the text goes on explaining me how part of the profit is invested in building schools in Kenya, improving education, improving tea growers' wages. And you know what? The non-cynical me, for a second, felt good about it. Because of this, I felt like the world will be a slightly better place to live in a century. For a second, I felt full of hope. And this is the same feeling I had just during Bono's talk. I mean, when he's all cheering, yeah, party's going down, hell yeah, nailed it, and everybody's clapping, I felt like, yeah, I felt proud. When he's like bringing every day 7,000 something, 256 children are not dying per day. You know, I almost felt I saved them myself. But unfortunately for Lipton and for Bono, tonight I'm going to be quite cynical. So after seeing this wonderful picture, I decided to call this hope cosmetic hope. I think it fits pretty well. And cosmetic because it affects only the appearance of something rather than its substance. It only addresses the superficial. And most importantly, it's passive. I mean, last year I was drinking my tea, the world was getting worse and worse. Today, after Lipton changed its policy, still drinking my tea, but this time the world is getting better. Great, how great, that worked for me. And that's the same feeling I felt last year during the French presidential election. François Hollande, the socialist in power. Wonderful, finally, things are going to be okay. Same feeling for Rio Plus 20 when I heard about the theme. Green and fair economy, finally they're going to deal with the economy. How great! Finally, things are going to be okay. Same thing after Bono's talk. Party's going down. Yeah, wonderful. Finally, things are going to be okay. So I found a painting to illustrate this feeling. That's definitely going to show up here. So this painting is called Hope. It was painted by George Parrique, an English painter from the 19th century. And on this painting, you can see humanity sitting on the earth, blindfolded, just all curled up, passive, playing music on its last string when all the others have snapped. And you know, we kind of feel that humanity is left hoping for something, but gave up any agency concerning it. So, just gonna play, I'm not gonna look, I don't care, I hope things will be okay. If Lipton changes its policy, things will be okay. If Rio Plus 20 goes well, things will be okay. If François Hollande gets elected president, things will be okay. But you know what? Most of the time, there is no miracle. Most of the time, there is no hero. Batman, Superman, Bono. I mean, somehow we like to believe that someone's going to do the job for us. Or even that we can do the job for everybody else. If you ask me, that's a very risky bet. I think it's time to be realistic. Things are not going to be okay if we don't do anything. If we don't do anything, this last little string is going to snap like the other. Why not? So, are you all depressed now? Depressed enough? Good. Because I didn't come here tonight to tell you how we're going to wait for this last string to snap. I came here tonight to tell you the story of how we're going to walk on it. This is Philippe Petit, one of my favorite heroes. And this picture was taken on August 7, 1974, when Philippe Petit walked on the wire between the twin centers in New York. The story actually started 6 years before, in some kind of dark French dentist waiting room, when Philippe saw in a magazine a picture of those two towers. And as soon as he saw those towers, he knew that he will dedicate all his time to put a wire between them and to walk on it. And I'm not saying that he knew that somehow one day he might have the possibility to walk between those towers. I'm saying that he knew that he will create the possibility to walk on it. And that was quite a possibility to create. I mean, everything had to be done illegally. He had absolutely no credential. On paper, this was impossible. This was just clearly out of human scale. But on this day of August 7th, 1974, he walked the wire. On this day, he did the impossible. So if we can take one thing from Philip's story, it's the fact that most of the time, hope is not enough. We need to go beyond this cosmetic hope and radically reconsider the role that hope plays in our life. Hope is not a good thing if it's not turned into action. Hope is not probability. Hope is the difference between probability and possibility. To hope is to create possibility against probability. As students in sustainable development and as students in general, we must broaden the discourse of possibility. We must turn sustainable development from the discipline of hope to the discipline of action. Let's hope, sure, but let's act on that hope. Let's make hope transformative. In psychology, they say that hope is a way of thinking. But I think hope is also a way of acting. Instead of staying aside, passively, looking at the wire, let's step on it. And let's walk. And when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel it's too difficult, when you feel it's too big, when you feel it's too complex, when you feel it's impossible, remember the words of Philippe Petit, the word he said at the beginning of its project, when everyone else told him, Philippe, c'est impossible. Philippe, it's impossible. It's impossible, that's sure. So let's start working. Thank you.